benvenuto a shit.
Come on.
Hola, benvenuto a dadandson's único podcast que consegue estar errado sobre pelo menos una cosa toda vez. Como pai, como fijo. Wait, shit. I forgot the last part.
George, did you say unco?
Voce decide!
Did you say unco?
I think Udako is in there somewhere.
It sounded like you said unco, which is poo in Japanese, which was hard for me to hold back for a second.
It's poo. It's not like feces or it's like the childish slang.
It's the childish slang, yeah.
Oh, that's cute. Unco. Ugh, that sounds like a vocal reaction, a glottal sound of disgust. Yeah.
I'm gonna still do this because I know my lady friend listens to this and she will be constantly abusing me.
I'm sorry
saying this on the show.
If my lady friend listened to this, I would never hear the end of everything.
You know what? I'm tired of these lady friends, guys. What happened? Liam, me and you were supposed to be the single guys here.
Dude.
What's going on, dude?
Dude, I'm so sorry. You got a big apartment now, Matt. You just have to rent it out.
There's so much empty space. Do you hear the echo?
So many corners in which you can practice your Italian.
So here at the Dad and Sons podcast, we're all about making the best of bad situations, which means that after 2 weeks of talking a bunch of bullshit about shit we don't know about, we're gonna switch over to topics we actually do know about. No, Liam, you laugh. However,
HDR.
we're not going back. Don't make us go down that roller coaster to hell again. HDR, more like hell. Don't repeat that.
I like how we didn't look anything up.
But however, this time, instead of like talking mad shit about God of War without actually playing it, Liam, you've given it like a good 15 hours, right?
Yeah. I mean, you say talk about things we know about, but my God, am I not the man to talk about God of War? Holy crap!
Wait, really? But you're the one who's been playing it. That's like the three of us.
I know. Well, I guess that ties into the fact that this is like, if you take Kratos out of this game, like there is nothing God of War about it whatsoever. It is the least.
Snap! Really?
It is the least God of War game. Like going back to like last week's, the Wonderful 101 is closer to being a God of War game than this. This is so different.
Wait, so is it just like straight up not a character action button smashing?
It is, but
rollicking
good
is, time.
It is, but it's so different. It's not even in the same realms of the way you play, and it's weird. You know, we had our whole 10 out of 10 talk last week, and God of War's been getting unholy amount of praise and stuff like that. And I've been playing for 15 hours, and I think I see why. I think I see why. But
wait, you sound skeptical.
Okay. So, put it this way. I really want, at the bottom line, I want us to stop recording as soon as fucking possible so I can go and play it. So that's a good sign.
Oh.
That's a good sign.
I suppose.
That's a good sign.
Okay, I'm sorry you feel
But
that
I
way.
guess my expectations were high. And although the game is weirdly... Okay. So it's weirdly relentless. Like, it is non-stop. Moment to moment. Constant action to cinematic to action. And if you didn't know, the game is all completely one shot. There's no cuts of the camera. The camera pans.
Oh, how artsy!
What?
Yeah, and it's funny because this was like one of their marketable things, that it was doing this new and inventive, genius thing where the camera never cuts.
So what does it do in loading screens?
There is no loading screens.
So it's like streaming in the next level during cutscenes or something?
During cinematics,
I thought it was like,
which it absolutely seamlessly transit. There are times when I press the pause button to check if it, because if you press the pause button when it's on a cinematic, it'll tell you. Sometimes I just press it just to check whether or not it's gameplay or cinematic because it's so seamless. It is actually ingenious. I don't even know how they've done it. And the whole like being
so how
one
does
shot.
time pass? Do they do a whole Birdman type thing where it's like time lapses?
No.
'Cause Birdman did a one cut. I don't know if any of you guys have seen that.
Yeah, I completely forgot that I did that. But there is like time doesn't pass. It's all taking place kind of realish time, I guess.
Well, I mean, like, spoiler alerts for Half-Life 2. There's a scene where you go in a portal and come out on the other side, but it's a week later in the future.
Yeah.
Maybe they do something like that?
I mean, there are times when you will travel to certain... You will travel to certain areas. I don't want to spoil it because it was kind of a big surprise to me.
Don't spoil it.
Yeah,
you will travel.
Well, I mean,
certain. Shut up. You'll travel to certain areas. I'm sick of saying that sentence. You'll travel to certain areas, and it will play an animation. So technically, it's not cutting. It will like zoom in on something, play an animation of it doing like a mystical, magical thing, and then it will zoom out to then, I guess, have the new level completely loaded in. And obviously things are behind doors, so you'll have like Kratos opening a door and it'll be a new level behind you, but it completely does not cut.
Trick.
It's always behind Kratos, or then when it goes into a cinematic, it will pan around him and then look at other characters, but it never cuts. And although this does sound amazing and is like an inventive thing, within the first 2 hours you forget that is even happening.
I was about to say, yeah, because video games, like, don't really... depending on whether or not you're even watching a cutscene, you're not gonna see, like, a lot of fading to black, cutting to new scene in...
You just forget.
Like Half-Life 2.
You just forget. You forget that that's happening. And I think that is a testament to how incredible, and this I think is God of War's strongest thing so far, is the world that this game takes place in. This whole Norse themed thing is fucking amazing. It is so interesting and so stunning. I would go as far as to say it's probably the best looking game I've ever played. Hands down. I don't particularly care for graphics usually or anything like that, but there is, not only does this game look incredible, and I'm playing it on the standard launch PS4, it runs very well, but the way they've done it, so now with the camera being behind Kratos, which I'll get into being why that's good and bad, but one of the good reasons is it makes you look and seem really small. And this game is not afraid to throw giant things at you constantly. Giant statues, giant shrines, temples, mountains, monsters, everything. Everything looks big and is so amazingly well designed. It's honestly stunning. It's easily this game's best quality. It's weird because exploring in this game is fantastic, and there are so many reasons to just go off the beaten path and explore the like world because it's really enthralling. Like everything is, I don't know really how to put it other than it feels like an adventure. Like, you'll be like, oh, I wonder what's behind that corner. And you see, like, a giant statue of a Norse god. And then you go up to the statue of the Norse god. And then all these spirits come out. And then you fight them. It's almost the a la Skyrim going into a cave shit, not knowing what to expect. But
you brought it up.
But looking way better and having more interesting enemies.
Liam.
So
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Joel.
Go ahead.
I wanted to ask how authentic the Viking theme feels in comparison to stuff like Skyrim, because that's a theme that gets banded around a lot these days.
I'm obviously not a Norse expert in any way. I know the very blatant, obvious Thor, Odin, Midgard, Nine Realms, Yggdrasil, like the very bare bones of it. But it goes so deep into lore, and it has like ornaments and statues, and it references things constantly. It is like you had all the gods from Olympus and all the Greek mythology, and that was incredibly well researched. It seems that they've done that again for the Norse stuff, and it is so intriguing. And like, even though the story is kind of like up and down a little bit, and sometimes Kratos is just comedic as fuck, because that guy, he just says the most like robotic, non-human things. I guess he is like this guy who's literally scarred forever and done insane shit. But sometimes the delivery and the stuff he says is incredibly comedic. It's just like, oh my god, did he really just say that? So the story is up and down. Whereas like Kratos' kid, Atreus, is actually really interesting and holds his own and is not a burden whatsoever. He's really good at pulling the story along. Everything around the world is what is interesting about that game.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that, because, like, you have, in the past just few years, like, off the top of my head, since the popularity of Skyrim, which was an American game by Bethesda, there's been the Banner Saga and Jotun, which were made in, like, Quebec and Texas, and For Honor was not made in any Scandinavian country, and this God of War was made in California.
Yeah.
And I'm really interested in knowing what the Norse theme would look like from a developer actually located
you have to look
Scandinavia.
You have to look back at what they did with the Greek mythology. I'm once again not an expert on Greek mythology, but it seemed like they did their pretty damn good research around Greek mythology and in tying stuff together and having, you know, gods who had sons and daughters, and they were all entwined together, and there was lots of little references to mythology, and they seem to have done that again, but it looks so awesome. If you have any interest in like Vikings or Norse mythology at all, like this game is like amazing. Like everything looks... It's like the only thing I can almost compare it to is when you go to that place in The Witcher 3. What's it called?
The Skellige Isles.
Skellige Islands, yeah. And that had like the really heavy Norse theme. It's like that, but times 100. And it feels so good, and it's so interesting. And the world is just really fleshed out, and there is so much variety to it. You think it's all just like snowy mountains and like going through caves and stuff from what you've seen so far, but that is such a small aspect of the game so far. And that's why I hesitate to say it's both relentless but also a slow burn. Like, it's a 40-hour odd game, so it obviously has to carry on. And they've done really well to hide most of what the game is and about. Whereas you only see like the snowy Midgar stuff, which is definitely like a main part of it, but there is so much more to it, and there are so many more places you explore and stuff like that, that it's relentless in its action and the stuff that happens to Kratos and the cinematics. But in terms of like actually like progressing and seeing stuff, it is a slow burn. And it kind of initially put me off because I was like hyped as fuck to just be like straight into it. Like everything go hell to hell, loose, blah, blah, like the other God of War games. That I was kind of initially intrigued as to there was so much more exploring and just walking around and doing stuff. And I came to realize that's probably the best part of the game, because the combat, on the other hand, I don't know how I feel.
Is it the camera angle?
So you mentioned For Honor before, and I was trying to think of like ways to relate how the combat is in this game. And For Honor was the only one I could really think about. You know, that sort of side strafing, focused on your enemy, waiting to attack kind of thing.
Like
that's
Hellblade?
kind of what... I haven't played Hellblade, but kind of what I've seen of Hellblade. Almost... Whereas if you look at like the other God of Wars and you compare them to like a Western Devil May Cry or a Bayonetta style of game...
That's what they were going for.
This is more like Uncharted's Melee.
Oh, no.
But in that weird third-person angle where you can't see anything of what is happening. And although when you're one-on-one with an enemy...
It's to make it visceral.
Well, exactly. The brutality is there, and it does feel great, and it looks amazing. And when you are one-on-one with an enemy, like a big boss, or like a troll, or an ogre, or something like that, it is awesome. And there's so much variety to Kratos' like axe and the like rage ability and stuff you can do with Atreus. Like you can use him to like stun enemies and like draw their attention. There is a lot of like combos you can do. And by the way, Kratos throwing his axe and getting it back is the most satisfying feel in any video game ever. It is so fucking cool. But when you get mobbed by enemies, which you do 80% of the time in this game, it's not difficult, and I've only died twice, but I'm constantly on like red flashing health. Because
I have a question about the camera.
Wait a second. You get mobbed and you cannot see for the life of you what is going on. You will get hit by enemies off screen 90% of the time you're in combat. And it's frustrating because you can't really get better at it, because it does have like a quick turn, but the quick turn is so like fast and blurs the whole screen that you get disorientated when you face the other way, and everything kind of looks like, you know, the same, like snowy mountains or like caves and stuff like that. So you almost can't tell what you're looking at most of the time, and you just get hit by stuff on the side constantly, and it's so frustrating. It's incredibly frustrating when you just want to like do flashy combos and cool shit like you can with one-on-one boss fights. It's a bit of a downer. It's weird to say that in a God of War game, exploring and kind of absorbing the world is the best part compared to the actual combat. It's still weird. It's okay. Like, you feel the brutality of it, and sometimes you do cool shit, but 90% of the time you're just getting mobbed, attacked off screen, or you're chasing down one enemy, and then you'll have like this. You have like this little arrow at the bottom of the screen that flashes and points to where enemies are coming. But it just looks like someone like drew like red marker on your TV. It looks so bad. You can't. It literally is the most useless thing in the world.
Maybe it would look better in 4K HDR.
Maybe. But my God, does it? It doesn't. I don't think it would help with not getting mobbed.
Do they do anything? Do they do anything interesting with...
God damn it!
Do they do anything interesting with the dying and reviving systems?
No, so when you die and you respawn. But if you have a healing stone, you can press square when you're dying, and then Atreus will save you. That's it.
Oh, so you can buy healing stones from the cash shop, right?
Yeah, you can buy one, and then once you've got one, so far I can only revive myself once, then I have to buy another.
You can buy stuff from the there's a cash shop? It was a joke.
No,
it was a joke.
No, you can buy a healing stone from a vendor
with real money.
Oh no, not with real money. No.
Okay,
there we go.
There is none of that bullshit in this game. And I will admit, going to the vendors in this game is actually pretty interesting, because there is a lot of character development with the vendors, who are these two dwarves who are actually pretty fucking funny. Ooh. They're very funny characters. Especially,
I wanted to ask how...
Go, shoot.
Oh, God. I was going to ask, like, how many traditionally tropey fantasy races and archetypes, like dwarves, for example, become reinvented in an interesting way, because Norse mythology is really like proto-Tolkien mythology.
It's pretty good, actually. It's pretty good. In terms of, like, dwarves, actually, I just thought they were normal-sized men, but actually, compared to Kratos, everyone looks really small. But, no, they're kind of interesting, and I've only met, like, elves and like trolls and stuff, but the elves are kind of...
Yeah, elves are Norse originally too. Like, a lot of the stuff that people think is like British fantasy is actually Scandinavian fantasy.
Yeah, and the elves, I don't like, you meet them maybe 10 hours in or so. They're interesting. They're kind of like the elves from Thor, the Dark World, like little dark insect type characters.
Ugh.
Very interesting.
That's not a Tolkien elf.
No, they do look different. They do. But, you know, ogres and trolls kind of look the same. There's a lot of Draugr, typical like stuff from Skyrim almost. If you've played Skyrim, Draugr's dead, zombie-esque things. But the way they fight in combat really like switches up quite often. Like there's these floating enemies, I think they're called nightmares, and they can almost like possess Draugrs and other enemies, and then they'll give them like buffs and stuff, so you have to like kill them before they possess other enemies, which was really interesting when I saw. But once again, it's not that interesting if you're getting fucking mobbed, because it just becomes a frustrating dodge, hack at one, dodge, hack at one, dodge. There's no fancy combos to it like you could in the old God of War. And then when you have a one-on-one enemy and you can just try stuff, it's way more interesting. Getting mobbed sucks in this game.
So did you guys know that in Scandinavian mythology, elves are known to have danced around in circles which are called alvendanza or alvenringer, and to urinate in one was thought to cause venereal diseases?
Nice. What does it go? Like, flies up the tube?
I suppose the spirit energy of the elves' mischief just, like, flows into your dick, I guess, if you have to, like, take a piss in a field.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah, no, this is their myth story behind fairy circles. Yeah, typically elf circles were fairy rings consisting of a ring of small mushrooms, but there was also another kind of elf circle on lake shores where you could find... No more interesting things about, venereal diseases on this Wikipedia page, that's all.
I guess the question is, Liam, should I buy back my stolen PS4 just to play God of War?
You should just go to the pawn shop and
This is what it comes down to, because although I do think this is a very, very good game, and they throw that massive wad of cash of a budget around because holy crap, some of the set pieces and some of the just like general designs, and I'm in awe of how much variety of space there is in this game and how intricately designed it looks. It's incredible. There are a few things to it that, like, going back to that 10 out of 10, that amazed me that it still got the 10 out of 10. One is that although the world is enthralling and very interesting to explore, this game is like Donkey Kong 64 Part 2. It's fucking a collectathon non-stop.
Oh boy.
That
genre came back and no one noticed.
There are treasure chests around every corner. There is things flashing on the ground that just like people with problems who have to pick up everything in the stage like I do will be in one stage for 10 minutes longer than they should have been because they're searching around for flashy, shining objects. This game pauses you and stops you from progressing all the time to pick shit up. There is so many flashing things, and it looks like Destiny half the time, which is flashy green and pink, purple things that display rarity colors, and you get like pop-ups that tell you you've got like a rare piece of equipment or whatever.
Do you have to hold the use button for a full second before Kratos bends over? Oh, no. I just want to scoop things up with the button press.
No, it's not that bad, but sometimes you'll pick stuff up, and if Kratos has like a long animation where he bends down and picks it up, it's kind of like a piece of equipment maybe, whereas usual stuff like health or runes or stuff to build up the rage meter is pretty quick and pretty snappy.
Good. Like, it's real satisfying to just vacuum up all the consumables in a pile in a corner of a room.
Opening chests.
And in Far Cry, where you have to, like, hold a button down to pick up a mushroom,
But opening chests has, like, 4 different animations, depending on the chest, and they're all, like, 3 to 4 seconds long.
That seems like an investment, but I imagine it's like an uncommon reward.
The heavy lid over, or like Kratos punching through it, or something. It all takes time, and then usually the stuff that's in there is useless most of the time if you're upgrading your equipment. So it's kind of that disappointing thing. So it's like a collectathon a lot of the time, which can be a bit grating, but then the world is just so interesting and like I want to explore it, so I don't mind spending more time. I have generally just like walked around a place with Kratos in slow pacedly walking back and forth just to absorb it, because it is like fantastic. But that leads me on to like the last point I have about this game. Man, it seems so negative, but this game is really good. I guess this is just the way I fucking do things. There is so much you expect to be good about this game that it goes without saying. It is very, very good. But at the same time, it doesn't do anything. Apart from the world, aside from the gameplay, the world is fantastic. I cannot give them praise enough for how incredible the world building is and the lore and the design and everything. But it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything groundbreaking whatsoever.
Do anything new. Yeah.
Nothing new.
Like, wasn't that one of my qualifications for being 10 out of 10? Was there has to be a admirable degree of innovation and boldness?
Basically, the only thing that is new about this game is that camera not cutting. And within 1 to 2 hours, you forget about that instantly. So anything new or groundbreaking is gone. And Atreus is a character. He's like the better version of Ellie and Elizabeth. He's actually useful. He pulls the story along really well. He is actually more of an interesting character than Kratos most of the time because his speech and the way he talks is a lot more realistic than Kratos. Although Kratos is hilarious in his own way, he's always like, "Boy, translate this for me, boy." That's pretty much about as far as he.
Is he Rick Grimes? Like what?
Oh, dude, he's doing his best Rick Grimes impression all the time. Atreus, come back here to me, boy. He just says "boy" all the time, and it's so funny because there's one moment.
God dang it!
There's one moment in the game where you press the button to say "boy," and it's like the Jason scene in Heavy Rain. It's like that.
Jason.
It's that, but it's boy, Atreus, boy.
Funny thing, the Jason thing in Heavy Rain. I have a coworker. His name is Jason, and he's never played Heavy Rain. And I always would say Jason like every single time because I always remember that from Heavy Rain in the beginning. So so every time he's like working in a certain section, I would put on 10 hours of him saying Jason. So it'll just go through all the Jasons in the game. Jason. Yeah, that drives him nuts.
Oh my god, it's so funny. Like you're just going through this thing and you're just like, boy. Kratos can be pretty comedic, and sometimes, like, I will admit, the dad-son relationship, especially on the Dad and Sons here, is very intriguing, and there is a lot of stuff that makes you want to... Obviously, Atreus doesn't know about Kratos' past. That's hidden from the start, and I don't know if there's a point in the story where that opens up. I imagine it does at some point. It's got to. But it's really... There are times when, like, Atreus is questioning him, or Kratos, like, leaks out a little bit of information, and there's, like, this intense moment where you're like, shit, I hope he tells him! And, it does make you want to continue playing to find out what happens, even though the premise of the story is so far pretty non-important. But yeah, it borrows a lot from other games. It borrows from Uncharted. There's a lot of climbing. There's a lot of climbing up to the side of walls and pressing circle to climb across something. There's a lot of the new Tomb Raider reboot in there. There's any like over-the-shoulder third-person combat game that you can imagine in recent times is in there. There's nothing groundbreaking about it, but it's a damn good game. I understand why it's getting a lot of praise. And it's like, I was thinking about it when I was driving home today. I was thinking about it. The game gets better as it goes along. It started off kind of disappointing.
Good.
But the more I play it, the more I want to keep playing. And the more that gets revealed, or the world opens up, or something in the world that you saw in a distance, you see up close and it's massive and interesting. And there are all these little stories about, like, the Norse gods, like Thor and Odin being, like, complete dicks, that you're like, oh, I want to keep going to see if I meet them so I can kill them and that kind of thing.
It is God of War.
It gets so interesting at times that it keeps pushing it. And I don't know whether it's on purpose that they've done this slow burn, because, man, it just keeps wanting you to play it, even with its little flaws. So although I wouldn't say buy a PS4 for it, I say if you have one, you have to play this game.
I have to. I'm obligated.
It's one of those where people are going to be talking about this game, I think, in the same vein that they do about Breath of the Wild last year.
Liam, this is when I say the same thing you say about VR. I'm too poor to buy VR. So I'm gonna complain about it. Man, God of War doesn't look that great. 10 out of 10s, and that's usually disappointing.
What is revolutionary about God of War?
One take.
You just said as much.
Yeah, nothing.
You just said the exact same thing.
I know.
But I mean, and yeah, like the concept of a third-person
this is the thing.
beat 'em
I
up
don't
with
think
one-on-ones that doesn't work for multiple enemies, that doesn't like innovate or anything, but has cool visual design and character design and cool story stuff, still doesn't sound like, it sounds appealing to me, but it doesn't sound like something I'd like stop playing Halo 3 El Dewrito for.
Well, that's the thing is, I don't think you would like it, George.
That hurts.
I don't think you would. I think.
Do you think I'm a cynic?
No, I just think the flaws.
You don't like nice things, George.
I just think
like
the
some
flaws
nice
would be
things.
too
You
much for
don't.
you. They would be too much for you to ignore. They would be too much. The collectathon, the passable
Yeah, that
camera
would get
in
me.
mob moments.
And how long is it?
It's like 40 hours supposedly.
Yeah, that's
Whoa, what?
another thing.
It is like pseudo RPG.
No way.
It's not very good RPG. It's just like upgrading equipment and gaining new skills. It's not like anything.
Oh, it has like side stuff that.
Yeah, but
Oh.
the side stuff is like,
Is this Nino Kuni 2 again?
no, because the side stuff is actually interesting in this game.
Oh.
Like, this is what I'm saying about the world. The world is easily the best part. Like,
Okay.
going on mini quests or exploring like little beach posts where you see like shipwrecks and stuff is super intriguing. And there's usually not like a very good payoff in terms of like treasure or something. You get like rare resources, as they say, and you can upgrade your axe, which is cool. But the reward in itself is like finding out what happened in those places, hearing more about gods, hearing more about the world. Because
God of War was just about the main story.
no, but this is the thing. They intertwine it in it, and you are as much of a stranger in this world as Kratos is. So you learn stuff through Atreus. Atreus knows way more about this fucking world than you, so he tells you a lot, and he like explains to Kratos why stuff is the way it is, and it's really, the exposition is done really well. Like, Kratos will just be like, who the fuck is Thor? And like Atreus will just go off on like one about how his mum told him all about Thor and the stories, and then you find out later like the stories, some of the stories are true and some of them are false, and this is why. And it's like, it's super, I don't know, filled out, fleshed out, lore wise, and it's cool. It's a damn good world.
But I don't know, like this sounds a lot like my opinion of The Witcher 3, a almost pseudo RPG with not great combat and not great RPG elements that pulled through because of its I thought it was fine. I was more forgiving on it than most people, but I still stuck with it and loved it for the world and the lore and the.
I think in comparison, whereas I felt like The Witcher 3 had like incredibly well written side characters and quests felt meaningful when you would speak to these characters and they'd have a lot of dialogue.
Yeah, good side quests, good world.
The world was kind of like empty grassy fields apart from when you went to the cities. Whereas like God of War, although it is a lot
real
of
life though.
it is a lot of open spaces that have puzzles in them that you do and then you fight combat. There's always like something in there that is kind of new or something you've seen that almost either intimidates you because it's large or has like a flashing text on it. Like there's a lot of like Nordic runes and only Atreus can read them. So when you see them, you can't read them yourself. You have to like call Atreus over, and that's when he's like, "Boy, translate this for me." And Atreus comes over and he explains, and then he will talk to you about the lore. It's not like you can check the like in-game manual thing and it will be updated every time, but it's kind of cool to listen to like this other character explain like the stories he's heard from like his mom or like stuff he knew. It gives you like little bits of exposition all the time. It's always like telling you stories, which is what I really like about it.
Are you saying that Zelda Breath of the Wild sucks because it has a lot of open space? Because that's what I'm hearing, Liam. That's what I'm hearing.
There.
How is that
there.
what you're hearing?
This
is what I'm hearing here.
At least the combat in Breath of the Wild was good. Like, it's just not a God of War game. And it's kind of its own weird amalgamation of everything that was popular about third-person combat games in a game that is beautiful and has an amazing world and kind of cool characters.
Well, Liam has took up all our time, so see you next time.
See you next
on
time.
Dad and Sons.
You told me to do this. George is like, we'll just let Liam talk today. It's like, oh guys, like, have you played anything? George is gonna talk about a game from fucking 2007. What do you want? What more do you want?
Yeah, you know what? You're right. You're right.
Wait, a
And
game
Matt-
from
Matt was
2007.
like,
Let's talk about games that George likes.
Matt was like, hey dudes, I've got nothing this week. Carry me.
I've got stuff this week. You just have a more important thing this week.
You've been playing
Also,
Halo
I appreciate
3?
you. I've been playing Halo 3. They, as in a unauthorized modding team that Microsoft is letting off the hook, made a fan-patched repackaging version of the already sketchy as hell Russian edition of a free-to-play Halo-themed... It was supposed to be an MMO, but it just got turned into a free-to-play version of Halo 3 for the Russian market. And they have translated it into English, released a more polished version. There's a really great Forge editor in there. And I have a dedicated server set up for the Super Bunny Hop Super Discord. There's like this rotating playlist of wacky modes that you used to only be able to really get going with like private party games on the Xbox. But now we can set up public servers with them and fill them up. Like, have you guys ever heard of Halo Pirate Wars, where you have two teams that are on mobile spawn vehicles that are these huge gigantic elephants that cruise at each other through the sea, and the two teams are shooting rockets at each other? It's cute. There's a special Juggernaut mode where one player will be like a giant 15-foot tall, like just scaled upwards model of Master Chief, and with lots of health, and everyone is trying to do chip damage and get the killing blow on this one Juggernaut who's just stomping all over the map, stepping on everyone else. There was Speed Halo. Someone, our server admin put in a Speed Halo mode where you drive warthogs down a ramp trying to hit players that are on foot at the bottom of the ramp who are zombies. They're armed with gravity hammers so they can knock your vehicles on the way down. At the bottom of the ramp is a teleporter, so your vehicle just comes out the other side at the beginning of the ramp faster than before. And it's like bowling with like the silly, over-the-top, completely zany vehicle physics of Halo. It's good fun. It's good fun. And that's all. It's just good fun.
I miss Halo 3. I really do.
Well, you can get your booty on over to google.com and type in El Dewrito and click on your Discord link to the bunny server and hop in.
It's called El Dewrito?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the prototype code name when Halo 3 was in development was El Dorado, and as the first ambassador, if you will, to the Mountain Dew video gaming outreach gamer fuel program, Halo 3 got the honor of having its name changed to a silly internet meme to El Dewrito, which can be spelled either Dewrito or Dorito, in honor of the sacred, venerable Dorito Pope Jeff Keighley, who spread the word about some silly rewards program bullshit Dorito was doing to promo Halo 4. And
that picture still makes me laugh.
I'm so glad that things actually got better after that scandal. Like, games media is now way classier than it was in 2011. I would argue. I say way classier, which means still not classy in comparison to real media, but I don't know.
He's not happy. Does he seem happy to you?
I think he seems happier now that he's not affiliated with Spike and he's like trying to do his own thing, but he still has to sell his own thing to sponsors that put a bunch of stupid commercials in the video game awards. But
like,
it's
someone needs
still
to interview
better.
Him. Like, someone needs to interview.
Better.
Like, are you like, ever since that video I've seen him eating the Dorito, Like he looks the same way.
I woke
when
up
he's
one
hosting
morning.
every time.
I woke up one morning about 6 weeks ago, and it my phone said Jeff Keighley followed you on Twitter, and I've never met him.
Yep.
I've never spoken to him. He's not since ever spoken to me or reacted to anything I've posted on Twitter or anything, and I was kind of mystified as to how or why Jeff Keighley of all people had found me or decided to follow me, and forever I think will this remain a mystery.
I think like if you look at his Twitter picture, he kind of looks like Mark Zuckerberg. I think he might be another one of the robots.
Oh, you think Jeff Keighley is analyzing all your metadata for maximum SEO advertising efficiency?
Dewritos. Yes, I absolutely.
You think he's teaching kids about conspiracy theories that undermine the democracy?
And you see that picture there of him smiling. That's the first picture. I haven't seen that guy smile.
Oh, really? I don't see a picture of him smiling, and I'm scrolling
it's the
down.
background of his Twitter.
Oh, it's in the background. Yeah, there it is. Not the foreground.
Like you have to see a picture because when he does it when he's live, it doesn't register in your brain. Like, oh, he's smiling. Wait a minute, what?
Yeah. See, like he smiles sometimes now. I think he's got at least 30% of his shit together and and figured out some things in life that can get him over the pain of having to shill for Doritos and Mountain Dew and Spike TV for like 8 years. Ugh.
Poor Jeff.
Yeah, for real. He's done some good stuff, but then got caught in the game, man.
I mean, the money's good, right?
We're just trying to keep a brother down.
Listen, Mountain Dew and Doritos came up to me and said,
"Are you sure
about this amount of money? Best believe your boy is gonna be not be vegan anymore." Oh, these Doritos, it's so good.
Dude,
love this
are
processed
Doritos
cheese.
vegan?
Dudes, if people want
yeah, that's right. Cheese. There's cheese powder.
If people want to give me that Dorito money to say God of War has the best combat in the world, fucking do it.
Yeah, you're like, buy me a PS4, pay some bills.
Dude, you do it just for a PS4, wouldn't you, Matt? You'd sit on that chair. You'd sit on that Dorito throne of Jeff's.
Pour myself out just for
Is that going to be the first Matt visual video in a long while? Just you sitting in a chair looking at the camera with this barren, neutral, like someone just slapped you before the recording started facial expression. We are going to have to go... Sign up for the Halo 4 Dorito Gamer Grub Rewards Point program and pre-order your new edition of Master Chief Adventures so I can get a PlayStation.
And it'll just come with a PlayStation. It won't even come with the God of War game that I want. It's just the PlayStation.
It'll come with like the HD collection.
It won't be a Pro. It'll just be like a regular one.
Refurbished.
They're like, oh, where's my PS4? It's like, oh, let's go to GameStop real quick.
one of the like models with like a smudge in the corner that they couldn't sell in regular stores. One of the slaves in China accidentally like pressed the pieces together too hard, and that's what you get. Ugh.
I want Dorito money.
Speaking of cynical observations about juxtapositions of ethics in modern society,
whoa!
I watched an anime.
Oh my god!
Oh yeah, I was looking at that. I mean, how low are we? I thought we couldn't go any lower. But gamers, as an anime, and you have these cute little girls in short skirts, like. Come on.
That's what I was expecting. I was expecting something like New Game, where it was like a moe spin and commentary on a male-dominated scene. That is what the fan, Eddie L, oh, what a fan, sent me an email in recommendation of an anime they thought I'd enjoy called Gamers, about a They pitched it as a show about girls who are into games, but I was surprised to load it up and see that it stars a boy who literally begins the first episode by giving a monologue of his high school crush, saying, "Oh, she's so perfect. She's really good at sports. She makes good grades, and she's really cute. Well, why is she talking to me?" As she like says hi, and he flips on his head and faints and has a heart attack. He gets hospitalized and lives the rest of his life with heartbreaking psoriasis from that moment onwards. Afterwards, they start a video game club and have to go on video game club adventures in their high school and develop romantic triangles. And it was all like it's one of those things that goes through the usual cliches, like they all fucking do, but this one is like more aggressive about reaffirming weird otaku social norms that I don't get. Like, everyone is hyper obsessed with the self-image they possess, they portray to others. They're hyper obsessed about whether or not everyone else sees them as a loser or a cool dude, and like have mental breakdowns over it. And I just like am I, like, an anime racist if I never think these characters are, like, confident enough?
No, I mean, I haven't watched it, so maybe I shouldn't judge, but the way how it's looking, man, I don't know why he would think you would like this. I mean, this looks like just a regular old run-of-the-mill
The best thing about it
anime.
is that sometimes there will be one of those moments where a character will give like a very monotone, entertaining quote that looks funny in subtitles with their blank facial expression about video games. It's kind of cool that they use real footage from video games. It's like the most weeby shit. It's sometimes they cut to a live feed of actual Persona 4 the fighting game spinoff in the middle of their show to depict what the gamers are playing. But then they'll cut to another shot where the gamers are supposed to be playing Counter-Strike, and it's like a mock-up but doesn't look like what so many PC gamers, which are in Japan, like if you go to a PC shop in Akihabara, you'll see Counter-Strike.
Is there an episode where they have like the actual League of Legends final streaming in the background with the players?
I would not be surprised. There is a lot of like real ass footage that they throw in there, and It's like a little more informed, than you would expect, but it was still like really cringy to see like us gamers, humor in a slice of life anime about weird otaku social norms that I get frustrated when trying to identify with characters over. Okay, also there's like one of the high school students looks like a grown-ass man, and his girlfriend looks like a tiny itty-bitty little girl. And I was like, oh god, we're doing this thing again. But then there's a scene, I believe towards the end of the second episode, where the tiny little girl who's fawning over this older gentleman. Maybe canonically there's not that big of an age difference because they're both high school students. But she, beyond anything about the age difference, she has this moment where she confesses that she had such a crush on this guy in middle school that she completely reinvented the social image that she projects to others to appeal to his desires. She dyes her hair pink. She adopts a really cutesy talking style. She tries to develop interests in things that he's interested in. And I'm just like, because if someone's doing that to you in real life, like, I don't know, like, about you guys, but I would get weirded the fuck out and be like, oh, okay, you have no personality. Your interest is me, not other things I'm interested in.
Right.
And I would consider them kind of soulless. But the show plays it off as a romantic confession of love. Like, sweet music plays in the background. The characters start, like, sighing at each other. And can you hear me cringing?
Speaking of good anime, Megalobox, 3 episodes in. Continues to be pretty
Why did I
good.
not watch Megalobox since I had 2 hours to watch an anime that I could talk about on the podcast?
You have 2 people who watch good anime, and you decide to go with gamers?
Did you know about gamers before I brought it up? Because this is the
hell
first I've heard
no.
about it, and I can't... Like, I'm not surprised I haven't heard about it, but at the same time, I feel like I've seen a lot of screenshots of this.
Because they all look the same.
Oh.
This is the thing that all looks the same. They all look the same. Am I wrong, Liam? Am I wrong?
It does look like Euro Camp, but
it's one of those.
that was more
it's
my
one
speed.
of those where the moe girls could be swapped in and out for any other anime with moe
Like,
girls.
you probably wouldn't notice. You probably wouldn't
Yeah.
notice that they swapped one.
Like, if one just changed hair color, you'd be like, oh.
I mean, in Eurocamp, the girls were like confident. They would do things by themselves and enjoy their hobbies without having to worry about seeking social validation from their circle of friends. Like, gamers seems like it's all about peer pressure. Everyone is trying so hard to fit in.
What, like real video game players then?
No, we're like supposed to be lonely nerds who piss everyone off with how like weird and immature we are, right? That's the stereotype.
Yeah, but we got a new stereotype. It's all about being competitive gamers and esports who like pressure each other into being like the fucking
we're
bomb.
athletes now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's maybe it's just so up to date with the times you can't handle it, George.
You're talking about those basement dwellers, huh?
I don't want to say
Talking
it.
about this fucking otaku, are we, George?
It seems like an anime for like lonely Japanese gamers who want to viscerally seek social validation about their hobby, which also weirds me out because I know that in Japan, like nerds can get really weird, more so than they do in the West, but that it's a more common phenomenon that normal people know about.
There's a reason for that.
There's probably a few.
Well, one of them is being a nerd in the West is like a totally sociable, acceptable thing to do these days. Like, being a quirky, cool gamer is like a thing. Whereas in Japan, when you choose the gamer life, you're immediately socially outcasted because that's how Japan is. So you just embrace it, and you just embrace the weird, and you become fucking weirdo.
Like
everyone thinks you are
consoles.
anyway.
Gaming on consoles for like 8 to 10 hours a week is something that struck me as extremely normal and mainstream in Japan. Once you pass that barrier, you're like suddenly in the weird shops in Akihabara. But the normal shops in Akihabara had nerdy shit to a degree that is not normal in the West.
Yeah, but
So
one
the
is
nerd-
Like there
one
are all
is-
those build your own PC stores, and Softmap has like huge ass video game sections with of course I guess because it's Japan, all the weird weeb shit you'd never see in the States. But
But you know, George, if you just go a floor higher, if you're always in those shops,
if you go
just
to
a
the
floor
upper
higher.
floors of
The
Softmap,
dark room.
the clothes
dark
come
floor.
off. But I remember seeing old people in arcades. I remember seeing way less of a gender divide. The games were like appealing to more age demographics, and that's something that I appreciated about Japanese gaming culture. Like all those shops you brought me to would have like entire sections devoted as like games for girls. Dating simulators are way more of a thing, and the Atomi culture was a thing that doesn't really have a Western equivalent. And when walking around the arcades, like you'd see girls just hanging out, having a fun night out, and that also surprised me, and that's why I think that gaming in some degree is more mainstream in Japan.
I mean, there are exceptions to
Also,
all
the
rules,
culture's a
but
little
generally,
bit different here in Georgia as well, George. Like, Jesus. I came from Miami. Georgia's...
I mean, we
You
got
see
the
some of that in
joystick
Miami. People
game
are way more
bar.
loose in Miami.
I gotta visit.
Yeah, but I'll take you around, George.
Yeah,
We have
maybe
a
we
good old
could
time.
arrange a
We
trip.
gotta leave the lady friends behind, though. Yeah, boy.
you stay.
Anyways.
Well- Yeah, watch Megalobox instead.
Yes. I agree, and I haven't even seen Megalobox.
Yeah, just watch that. That's stylish and cool and interesting and is seemingly more like Cowboy Bebop as it goes on, which is fine. It's good.
Okay.
Watch it. The new series of Steins Gate as well. For anyone who liked the original Steins Gate anime, Steins Gate 0, that's pretty good too. Just throwing it out there. Don't watch it unless you watch the original Steins Gate.
Yeah, Steins Gate is good. Love it.
Yeah.
It's good.
Matt, you should watch it. You should, when all the episodes are out, you should watch Steins Gate 0 too.
Jesus Christ.
Literally.
Isn't that like the third one or something like that?
I know, like, they're all based on those visual novels, but this, I think, is the second actual series. Like, it's kind of like a weird sequel to what happened with all the stuff that happens. But it features like the most recent episode features the most stereotypical life as a foreigner in Japan that I tweeted out. Is fucking hilarious.
Oh, what are some of the stereotypes that you have to deal with, Liam?
Like when you watch anime
as a
and
foreigner,
you have like
as a baka gaijin.
When you watch anime and they have like someone speaking English, it's always a Japanese person speaking English. They don't hire anyone who actually speaks English to do it. So when they have someone Japanese, it's always the worst accent, and like. They always play it up like we're all massively Genki, super over, in-your-face people. And there's like this German scientist who speaks like Japanese a little bit. And when he speaks Japanese, it's obviously a Japanese person, but they're doing it like really badly. So they're like, Watashi wa domo desu ka? Like, and it's so funny.
I mean, they're not wrong. That's basically
like,
me.
Yeah, that's you. Not like like a German scientist who actually speaks like fluent Japanese. But like, there's one scene, and you can check it out on my Twitter. Like, I posted it on there. It's like 12 seconds. It's like the German scientist bursts through the room, and he's like, "Yo, Rintaro boy, Mr. Einstein, what's up?" And then the main character just responds to him like, "Hello, I am fine, thank you, and you?" And like that's like the rote response to every Japanese high school in the world. And he's like, the guy just turns to him and goes, "What?" It's so pitch perfect of what like a conversation with somebody who freaks out at the fact. George literally just retweeted it as we were speaking.
Look at that blonde hair. Look at how much taller he is than the
George,
other characters.
Have you watched it?
I've had it muted, but that counts as watching. I just haven't listened to it.
Well, you have to listen to it.
There's subtitles. I should be fine.
No, you have to listen to the pronunciation. It's
okay.
awful.
I'm gonna turn the volume up and let you guys hold the fort for 12 seconds. Don't burn the house down while I'm gone.
Matt, are you gonna check it out too? Just leave me here on my own to stew in my own making.
What? No, I was just looking at the tweet.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't hear any audio, but it's fine.
You need the audio. You need to hear the
Okay, I'm back.
I'm fine, thank you, and you?
What?
That's literally what they teach them how to respond. Like when you ask someone in Japan, "How are you?" the response is, "I'm fine, thank you, and you." What?
So there's layers of humor here.
There are meta layers
that us
of
baka
humor.
Gaijins aren't gonna get unless you reach Liam levels of cultural assimilation.
Oh,
speaking of which, Jordan Amaro got the shout out.
Yeah,
people really liked that.
People actually responded to that, did they?
But there was one guy in the comment. What's that?
Did Jordan see it?
Someone tweeted at him about it. I have not made contact because I want to precede by saying there was one comment on my RE7 video when I pointed out Jordan Amaro's involvement as a Westerner who has deeply gotten involved with the games culture in Japan. AAA, like legacy classic franchise game culture in Japan. I just said Resident Evil. He was a level designer in Resident Evil. Someone was in the comments saying, "No, George, you idiot. Amaro is a traditional Japanese name." I have met Jordan Amaro.
Literally, does the guy not know that we got very, very, very drunk with Jordan Amaro in Japan?
I have verified with my eyes and ears that boy he's French, right? He's French. Originally.
He's French. But yeah, he got when I was watching the RE video and you gave Jordan the shout out, I was like, oh my god, he actually did it. He went there. I'm surprised you didn't.
Not the first. There was that Rolling Stone interview.
I'm surprised you didn't pull up like pictures of like you in Japan with him.
I don't think there are any.
There is. There's one of us in that bar when you were clutching onto that water.
I was so plastered that night.
And then the weirdest part was when you carried on going, you started showing like GDC footage of like Pete, who came like the night after, I think. Who
I did not know that you knew Pete.
Yes,
he's my Japanese the other dad. Baka gaijin who was deeply involved in RE7.
No, but he's my Japanese dad. He looks after me in this country. We shouldn't put this in the podcast.
Maybe not. Maybe I'm just sitting here watching you guys name drop and name drop and name drop.
This is what happens when you come to Japan at the wrong time, Matt. This was the night when you were on a plane. Okay,
you know what? We're gonna keep. We won't say anything on the podcast. That's fine.
We're touching some nerves here. We're touching some nerves.
Speaking of touching nerves, I went from one depiction of cringy us gamers humor in an anime to cringy us gamers humor in an episode of Black Mirror.
Wait, you don't like it, George?
No, I thought it was fun. But I still I felt patronized by the character in Black Mirror Season 3, Episode 2 called Playtest. Matt, you've seen it, right? You recommended it to me.
Yeah.
Liam,
I've seen it. I've seen it. I forget completely the details. But
Liam, is that what you guys think of us? The following podcast spoils all of Black Mirror Season 3, Episode 2 Playtest. Warning. Liam, is that what you guys think of us?
Me?
Yeah. So this whole episode involves a loud, obnoxious, dumb American tourist stereotype wandering his way into London, running out of money, being afraid to call his mom back home for help, and he just makes the most infuriating, sarcastic remarks to everything going on. Whereas the British people keep their cool and reply to everything and with robotic Queen's English. I felt stereotyped. I felt misrepresented with a harmful image.
Are we sure it wasn't made by a Japanese person?
No one cares about the character, George. You care about what happens to the character. Did you like what happens to the character? Maybe they made him unlikable for a reason.
I don't... Okay, so let me try to remember the plot synopsis, okay?
See, this episode would be the thing that reverted me away from VR, because fuck what happens to that guy. Oh my god.
No, but that's not what it's like. Okay, so the loud, obnoxious, dumb American beach boy tourist.
Spooky grave.
Yes. He goes to London when he's backpacking across his hoity-toity privileged vacation. He runs out of money.
In your hoity-toity vacations.
He decides that he should go be a playtester and get 4 figures of pounds to buy his ticket back home, because that's how it works. Through an app that you can find odd jobs with, because that's how it works. Trees just grow on jobbies. And at the playtesting facility of a hot, trendy game studio in London, they strap him into a augmented reality device that's a little embedded matrix chip they drill into the back of his neck that makes him hallucinate gameplay mechanics. They put him in a haunted house or spooky things that are supposed to dig at his personal fears of his high school bullies and his matriarch anxiety. And the jump scares gradually become real as you no longer know what's real and what's part of the game. And then they strap him out and find out that he dies of insanity 1 second into the test. Oh, major spoiler alert, by the way. Let me write that down on my notes. And he is dead. The video game corporation is more of a like evil umbrella corp that just like zips him up in a body bag and never reports his his tragic decease. But what you guys have seen it, right? So let's have our discussion now.
Oh my god.
What? Because I believe that Liam, this was this work of fiction that was a fun story that does not represent how the stuff works in real life. Apparently, colored your opinion of a beautiful new medium of art form that is really important and stuff.
It didn't really. It reminded me more. There are so many like obvious nods to stuff like BioShock and like Resident Evil and.
Oh yeah.
There are so many.
When the lady says, "Would you kindly?" I'm just like,
It's directed by Dan Trachtenberg, the dude who did the Cloverfield Lane film. He's good at shit, and you know it's written by Charlie Brooker, and he's also good at shit. But I think it's just interesting to see something mainstream media do approach something of ours as a collective community and do okay with it.
I still felt patronized by how stupid the like gamer was.
Yeah, but the guy was a douchebag. That's just, you know. At the end of the day, it's a pretty good like horror-esque like
wait, mainstream. But this isn't this this is aired over in your world though. It's not aired over here, isn't it?
Yeah, we gotta get it on Netflix. Over there, it's on BBC.
Yeah, it's on BBC. Yeah,
no,
this is like
Black Mirror is Netflix
thing.
No, Black Mirror is Netflix.
Thing.
No, Black Mirror is exclusive. No, Black Mirror is Netflix exclusive.
I thought Black Mirror premieres on BBC before.
This season,
serials like it. That's definitely.
No, season 3 and season 4 were Netflix exclusives. Netflix brought Black Mirror back.
Well, what about 1 and 2?
1 and 2 were Channel 4 in the UK, I believe.
Yes, it's from there. It's from there.
Yeah, but we're talking about 3 and
that's public service
4,
British television,
which was like when it became super popular and like everyone started watching it. So. Still like a...
Oh, you're saying it gets bad because everyone starts... Well,
no,
you know what? You're not wrong, because that last season was kind of rough.
No, I'm saying that it's interesting to see like mainstream media, like a TV program, like a dramatized TV series. It's like do like an episode on something that is very steeped in our culture as like video gamers, right?
It wasn't as patronizing as it could have been, but I still felt patronized.
But that has something to do with the fact that Charlie Brooker used to be a video game critic and writer, so he knows his shit. I don't know about the American character. Like that seems, aside from what they do about the whole video game stuff, you know.
That might be the line here. Actually,
they had a fucking Edge magazine. They had like an Edge magazine on that guy's desk. Like, they know.
Oh, I guess they have an Edge magazine. That means it's a totally, like, realistic and respectful depiction of video games.
Okay, so, did you like RE7?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll see you after the break.
Are you suffering from pungent pits, foul feet, beastly butt odor? How do you stop the stink? Hi, I'm Adam J, and this is Doc Bottom's Ace Spray, the all-new, all-over deodorant that prevents odors before they start and can be used anywhere, and I mean anywhere on your body. Ace Spray goes where other deodorants can't. Ace Spray your butt, Ace Spray your feet, Ace Spray under your arms, you can even Ace Spray your privates. Ace Spray is safe for all your odor zones. Ace Spray is 100% natural, chemical-free, fragrance-free, and offers 24-hour protection. Plus, it's made in the USA. Our revolutionary formula safely protects you against embarrassing body odors by neutralizing odor-causing bacteria. It's that simple. No bacteria, no stink. Ordinary deodorants mask odors and can only be used on armpits and feet. Ace Spray can be used all over your body and literally stops odors before they start. You can also use Ace Spray on smelly shoes and clothes, even on a steamy seat. You could spend a stinking fortune on all these different deodorants and never get the odor zone coverage that this one bottle of Ace Spray gives you.
I work hard for a living, I sweat a lot, I got odors in special places, and with Ace Spray, I don't have to worry about that anymore. My butt.
Call and order Doc Bottom's Ace Spray today for only $14.99, and I'll send you the Ace Spray Pocket Shot absolutely free. Perfect for on the go or give it to your smelly friend. That's the full-size Ace Spray and the Pocket Shot for just $14.99. But wait, if you order right now, and I mean this second, put down the potato chips, go get your phone, I'll double your order. You just pay processing.
Log on to www.acespray.com and order now. Order Doc Bottom's Ace Spray and you get the full-size bottle and the portable pocket shot. So log on to www.acespray.com and order yours now.
Call and order right now before you stink up the place.
Estamos de volta para o podcast Dadandsonspodcast, o único podcast que sempre pega o errado mais que uma vez.
At one point, does this become stereotype or racism? Like, what language do we have to do to really just hit the low bar? Just
do you know what? It's funny you say that. It's funny you say that because maybe English-speaking listeners don't realize we have had a lot of emails from people from outside of English-speaking countries asking us to do their languages. So it can't really be called racism. But going back to the Black Mirror talk about stereotypically dumb English or American people, I feel like we're nailing the bar. We're almost backing up what we were trying to defend not 10 minutes ago.
We're just a bunch of, here at the Dad and Sons podcast, we're just a bunch of colonizers.
I'm fine, thank you, and you.
But
Very
it's like
poorly.
it's a little self-flagellating in that many people who want to see their foreign language get butchered by us will oftentimes be the same people who will then respond with how like angry they are that we got it wrong.
It's like some sort of sadomasochistic linguistic bonanza.
Speaking of sadism, we got some of that coming from Konami this week again.
Ooh.
Straight off the back of their killing Castlevania, they're now killing their biggest...
Probably killing PES. They've officially ended... What's that?
It's Pez. Yeah.
That's what you guys call it?
It's called Pez. PES. Huh. No one has ever called it that, ever.
Oh, never mind then, because Pez is the, like, candy dispenser.
Yeah, but that's spelled with a Z. Or Z.
Zed? Zed? Oh, excuse me, Mrs. I play football, not soccer. You and your Zeds and your crumpet. Okay, Konami is going to end their PES licensing partnership with the Union of European Football Associations. The marketing director of this move tries to play it off very positively, which is why I don't want to be like completely sure that PES is ending. He says it's been a very cooperative and mutually beneficial partnership.
That was so on purpose, you fuck.
Would like to thank Konami for its tremendous commitment and support to the UEFA club competitions for the last decade. Well, he then ends the second paragraph of his statement by saying, "We look forward to continuing to work with Konami in the sphere of the UEFA national team football."
God damn it, George!
What?
It's UEFA.
Are you kidding me, or are you fucking me right now?
I'm not fucking kidding you. It's UEFA and Pez.
So you say Pez, like the candy dispenser,
it's
and
called Pez.
UEFA,
yes. That's what the body is called. That's what that European governing body is called for football, soccer, whatever it is.
That
called
doesn't
UEFA.
roll off the tongue. But anyways, he says that
UEFA doesn't either.
Oh, I know, but at least you can understand how it's spelled if you say it that way. Anyways, he says that he's looking forward to continuing to work with Konami in the sphere of the UEFA. In the sphere of the national team football. And I'm wondering if this is a partnership that's going to continue in the realm of Konami's health clubs in Japan, or if Konami sponsors football teams. And by that, I mean, you know, real football, not American football like our favorite Resident Evil 7 character enjoys playing.
I just feel like Konami definitely want to leave video games.
Yeah, because they do not mention PES in this press release.
They just don't care.
They hint at it, but they don't say PES is continuing. The implication is that PES is not going to continue.
Having the Champions League was the thing, the marketable advantage it had over FIFA for a long time. Although FIFA, no doubt, has always been the bigger of the two. Having the Champions League and having teams like Real Madrid and Barcelona and Liverpool and Manchester United on the front cover, because you can have those teams associated with the Champions League, always sold it to the people who don't buy video games very often and buy sort of sports games or
and those sell
mainstream shooters and
consoles.
stuff.
Like, people will buy an Xbox just for football and not play anything else. And those are normal people. Those are not us. Those are the people who actually, like, drive the prices down for us to buy our $60 video games.
Yeah. But, yeah, it just sounds like Konami they just want to get video games out and phase them out as slowly as possible.
We were talking about how GTA was the most popular media product of all time, and the more I think about this, the more I'm like surprised that just FIFA the franchise is not the one. Because I bet it comes close.
You gotta realize probably everyone who bought FIFA also bought GTA 5. The weird demographics, they overlap. We all know those demographics, the CODs, the Battlefields, the GTAs, the FIFA, the Maddens, they are a weirdly interlinking demographic.
Remember when Sony continued... I believe Sony continued manufacture of the PlayStation 2 all the way into 2009. Either that or they were like officially selling it on their storefront all the way until 2009, just because EA kept putting out PS2 versions of FIFA well into the following generation. It's like, it's the most popular sport in the world for some of the most popular video game consoles in the world. Therefore, they are the most popular video games in the world, to a point where they compete with GTA and stuff. And PES was the primary competitor to FIFA, which probably means that now FIFA, if not already, is going to be going to shit. As is the pattern when EA's competitors can't hold on to their licenses.
Like, what do Konami... Like, they have the Castlevania thing, which is just surprising. Like, why?
Oh, yeah, the mobile 2D fighting game that reuses sprites and artwork.
Well, no, they've actually brought on the Japanese artist who did that. She is actually brought on back to do art.
Oh, yeah, Kojima.
Yeah, she's back. And
isn't her name Kojima?
I think so.
Castlevania artist? Yeah, Kojima Castlevania art.
Yeah.
Ayami Kojima, anyways.
And, you know, the other thing is, like, what is it? They have Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. Obviously, Yu-Gi-Oh! Makes a lot of money, but it's kind of an aside to all this. Like, PES was
not my Jim Jam.
PES was like the official retail video game next to like Metal Gear Online that Konami was just releasing. Like, it was like the last bastion for the Konami logo to be on like a video game box. And they're just like, they just don't care anymore. It's so weird.
It's also the one and only place you get to see the Fox engine in action. Other than MGS.
It's so weird. They just don't care anymore. It's
are they still licensing out Bimani? Like are there new Bimani games that they make? Do the arcades get to keep importing new songs?
There is probably a bunch load of Konami stuff in arcades in Japan, but it's like that's not the kind of video game industry we're talking about, are we? That aside,
right.
It slides into pachinko nonsense. So Konami is the 12th largest game company in the world by revenue as well.
That's
That
far
revenue
down
must...
the list, actually. Like
12.
compared to where they used to be. I'm sure they were in top 10 for most of their history.
You make like 2 games every 10 years now. This is not bad, is it?
I guess the strength of their brands is going horrifically underutilized.
I'm trying to find what their most recent games are.
They need to sell Metal Gear to like SIE Japan. They need to sell Castlevania to Capcom. Well, no, let's have Castlevania go to Square Enix so that they can make some like beautiful bishy characters full of belts and zippers, and give Capcom the dumb shit like Contra.
Like, the PlayStation 4 has been out for 4 years, and Konami has officially made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games for the PlayStation 4. 4 of which are PES games. The other
I still
2,
think of the candy dispenser.
two of them being Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain, and the last one being Metal Gear Survive.
Everyone's favorite.
That is mad. They made the PlayStation 4, they've only made 7 games, 4 of which being the PES franchise, and now they're just gonna like throw away. Oh my god. Bye-bye, Konami.
Speaking of normies buying more video games than the rest of us, and actually being the ones who drive the industry forward, normies like the Battle Royale modes these days, right? Hang on, I have a question about this. People are talking about a Battle Royale craze based on the success of PUBG and Fortnite, but the more I try to look into it, it's really just 2 games, isn't it? Like, what other success... What else?
Well, I don't know about success stories, but there's obviously... What was the other one that just went free to play the other way? The Darwin Project or something?
I literally have to Google Battle Royale game. Okay, H1Z1, I guess you could count.
H1Z1. Paladins.
Paladins is a Battle Royale?
Yeah, Paladins.
Nah, Paladins is like a...
No, it's got a battle...
No,
it's got a battle... No, it's got a Battle Royale mode now as well.
Oh my god.
Donkey made a very good video about this, where he spoke about different... where he spoke about...
Probably some shitty YouTuber no one knows about that I never watch.
But he made a good video where he spoke about all these different games, where he used footage from the alternate game he was talking about.
He never ripped off Donkey in any of my videos, no.
Just couldn't tell which one was which. But man, it's getting a little ridiculous, isn't it?
Well, there's about to be more high-profile attempts at the genre, because Battlefield 5
failures.
Battlefield 5 is being rumored by credible anonymous sources of VentureBeat to be having a Battlefield Royale mode prototyped right now. Don't know if that means it's going to be in the works soon. I could actually... Okay, between Call of Duty Black Ops 4 also having a lot of credible anonymous sources from way different publications this time, cropping up between Polygon and Kotaku and the Call of Duty specific fan site Charlie Intel. They all have people inside the beast who are saying the same stuff despite not knowing each other, despite not being set up with each other. They're saying that Call of Duty Black Ops 4 is not going to have a campaign at all. It's just going to have your multiplayer, your zombies, and a new Battle Royale mode that is rumored might not release with the game, but maybe come a little bit later. I find it hard to imagine a Battle Royale in Call of Duty working. I find it way easier to imagine a Battle Royale working in Battlefield. In Battlefield, all you'd have to do is just turn the respawn feature off, and then you're good. You have your team, you run around the battlefield in your danger card, ambushing people, having like a cool elaborative mix of vehicles and infantry to basically play Battlefield but with higher stakes.
But I feel like Battlefield Battle Royale would essentially just be PUBG, because the games play out the same. It would basically just be PUBG with better
Except
graphics.
it'd have better controls, better movement, and better game feel, because that's the whole reason I don't think I've ever been able to get into PUBG, is that the engine at its core is just so jank. Even though it's a way more polished version of the Arma-style games, it still feels clunky. Like, your character and your character's hands get stuck on so much stuff to the point where the third-person camera is the preferred way to play. And I have never really been able to just, like, get used to that game's pacing and its movement and either of its camera systems. I want to give Fortnite a try. I've heard that it's something that might be more my speed. There's like this frantic building element to it where towards the end of the match the players are like building cover around each other rather than the circle getting smaller. It's more about expanding your base into the remaining players' base, which sounds like an interesting spin. But I could also imagine a good battle royale for Battlefield. I could not imagine a good battle royale for Call of Duty, where the guns have little to no recoil and everyone dies with like 1 3-round burst to the chest anyway. Like, that seems like Call of Duty, deaths in Call of Duty just happen so fast and so unpredictable. In PUBG, they circumvent this problem by giving everyone unreasonable amounts of health. You got something like 3 headshots. In Battlefield, you have like a wide field of view, flat maps where you usually can see the threats coming before they do. And yeah, I can't speak on how Fortnite manages its health and damage model, but I find it hard to imagine blitzing through a Call of Duty map, ramping up your kill streaks, calling in your UAVs on a giant empty map of 100 players where
I want a Gears of War battle royale.
You think that would work too?
No, it would not work. It would not work. I mean, it would be cool to have a squad, but nah, it's not that type of game.
Call of Duty has you like reload canceling after every shot.
God, no.
Royale
be swinging their axes.
Yeah, can we have a God of War one, right? Where it takes place? No, it takes place in a cool ass Norse cave. Everyone can only throw their axe at each other, and then they can snap the axe back and attack other people.
Yeah, no,
that would be way more my
videos
style.
Of everyone throwing the axe over and over again, just like,
dude, all I see in videos of Fortnite is people putting walls up in front of their face and then taking a shot every now and again.
Yeah, Fortnite.
I want to try Fortnite. Do you guys want to try Fortnite? Have you tried Fortnite?
Yeah. Of course,
you
back
have?
in beta.
Okay.
Back in beta. I thought it was way better than PUBG. It didn't break on me.
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, is that good enough to like warrant another shot? Should we become normies and do a Fortnite stream together?
Fortnite stream.
I mean, do I have to?
Oh.
You don't have to.
I really am not the type of person to play these games.
Ooh.
I've played 4 matches of PUBG. I got to like 20th in each one, but I didn't even see anyone. I was just walking around a map looking for pans.
That's how you climb up the scoreboard in PUBG. You just hide in a corner by yourself until the map gets too small.
It'll be basically a podcast until the end.
Do you know what we should do? We should do an extra episode where we record an episode of the show whilst also playing Fortnite at the same time.
Near the news topics, that's when we'll get into a firefight.
I'll have a window open in one half of the screen that'll be Fortnite, and then I'll have the dock in the other, and it might be a fun gimmick. I don't know. Here at the Dad and Sons podcast, we're desperate for new gimmicks. We might be trying out some new pilots bits soon, but
next week we do everything in one cut.
Yeah, we never turn the camera away.
We actually bring on some real life dad and sons to talk to each other. One comedically out of touch dad and one moody teenager.
We could do like the break live and just listen to George go to the bathroom, I guess.
I mean, to be fair, all we have to do is take the theme song out, because the fact is we don't ever edit this shit show, do we?
What are you talking? I've stayed up
George,
nights
there's some moments,
for editing.
man. I'm like, George, edit that out, please.
Your hands are in good hands.
Stay Farm.
So, speaking of putting
George,
things
Stay Farm,
in Weedmon,
Weedmon.
like I didn't know you were gonna go Comcast on me.
Oh god, there's so much news.
The Netherlands is pushing for EU-wide loot box regulation. The Netherlands Gaming Authority has decided that loot box transaction schemes in at least 4 major video games these days are violating Dutch gambling legislation. They are seeking to develop standards that would regulate loot box DLC in other EU countries as well. Panji Odensen, a spokesperson for the industry trade body of the Dutch Games Association, has said, "The possibility is there. As far as I can tell, there are certain authorities, such as Belgium, that are doing their own studies right now, and I know they are harsher than us in this whole topic. They might have different findings, but this ruling could certainly influence rulings that are due to come out. I do know that they are really pushing the EU and trying to get in touch with all the different authorities in the EU member states to get one blanket precedent so the whole EU has the same ruling. What I imagine would happen in that event is the same practices that are developed for the EU will transfer over to the American side of the business, because video game companies don't want to make a whole bunch of different versions of their games, split up the player base, give the developers more bullshit work for the incredibly transparent scheme of milking the whales that no one is getting fooled by anymore. As happened with refunds on Steam, for example, which I think is like the prototypical example for weird European legislation leading the way for a better situation for American gamers. I can imagine a similar course of action following the loot box scheme seen in such major modern video games as Shadows of War and Battlefront 2. I wonder which 4 games in particular they're citing here. They don't want to name names just yet, because I guess they don't want to embarrass companies that have already suffered enough embarrassment and issued enough retractions and had shit enough long tail sales to be dealing with the negative PR that comes from such a revelation anyway. But there are 4 of them that they have argued are actually breaking the laws in Netherlands. That's that story. Do we have any opinions we want to share on such events?
Have any of us, either of us 3, ever had a loot box misfortune? Do we actually even have any experience with loot boxes?
I have a very, very small amount. Like, I would cash in the Steam trading cards for CSGO boxes, and I did not get it and stopped doing it real quickly. You get some free credits in Rainbow Six Siege for loot boxes too, and every single time I open them, I'm like, fucking why? This bright, like, yellow caution stripe, this eye-catching design that I can slap on my gun in this tactical shooter about being sneaky and flanking enemies with an element of surprise is probably not going to give you that much of a tactical advantage. In fact, it might completely work against you. I don't get it. I've never gotten it, but they've still made a lot of money off of people who are totally wasting that fucking money away. And they could be saving it for groceries that feed you and keep you alive.
Yes.
They could be saving it for their retirement fund so that when they're old and Social Security and Medicaid runs out because of the fucking boomers, they'll be able to eat food and stay alive then.
Yeah, I've never bought a loot box before. I've had trouble with buying in-game stuff from my MapleStory days, but other than that, man, God, I was addicted to that game, boy. Woo! Oh boy!
Speaking of Korean masterpieces, MapleStory.
Oh, such a masterpiece, dude. The music in that game is.
How many emotions did the game engage you with?
Every emotion. Every.
Did you notice that highly detailed character faces made you feel something for that character despite incredibly bad writing coming out of their mouths?
Dude, I did not care about the writing. All I cared about was grinding, talking with other people, and back then they made like you could. I mean, they were everywhere. Like people were everywhere, so you could talk to people randomly on a train because for some reason you couldn't fast travel. You would have to
die
take a
in
train
MapleStory?
that would take 5 minutes.
Did you see a game over screen?
No. Oh yeah.
You never saw a game.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
Of course. You when you die.
Well, what a failure of a game designer, according to David Cage, lead game designer of Quantic Dream Studios in France, who is suing the French media over articles on very, very immature, frustrating work conditions in that office. Kotaku reporter, good old Jason Schreier, our boy,
Atreus.
who was
Boy.
David. Anyways, Jason Schreier was in Paris slinging around the French translation of Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, which is a legitimately good book. Go buy it and put up with the filler because there's a lot of good stuff in there. He was doing a press event in Paris for the French version. He overheard representatives from a publication that reported on these revelations of basically how shitty David Cage and his cohorts act in the office from publication Le Monde.
Trust Jason Schreier to be the one to overhear something shitty
some saucy
about Quantic
detail
Dream in Paris. It's like whoever this person was who was like, they were like, hey, that's Jason Schreier. Let's over talk very loudly about something Quantic Dream have done.
He overheard that one of Le Monde's reporters was, quote, caught up in court, quote, which gradually came to be revealed to mean preparing for a lawsuit. Later on, a actual, like, full-time, well, I don't know if Jason Schreier is full-time or freelance for them, but Cecilia D'Anastasio was another Kotaku reporter who is doing a press event for Quantic Dream to cover Detroit and New York City, and she heard from the horse's mouth David Cage himself saying, we're suing their journalists. And,
no.
Oh my God.
Before David Cage's PR person, like waved him away and told him to shut up.
Oh, no.
So, to recap the story, Le Monde and Mediapart are two French publications that are being sued. They, along with another magazine called Canard PC, broke the initial stories together. They collaborated on it. They released it the same day to reveal that at the David Cage office, there's a shared hard drive of a bunch of employees photoshopped into embarrassing, compromising positions. David Cage's right-hand man hangs in a bit too hard for those French air kisses. One time, they saw someone of a racial ethnic minority breaking into their offices. David Cage turns to a Tunisian man who was working, and as they were reviewing the security footage, saying, is this one of your cousins?
Oh my God.
There's also the inevitable sore spot of the unauthorized nude model they built off of Ellen Cage's...
Ellen Cage.
Ellen Cage, sorry, Ellen Page.
She related to David.
George!
Oh, you think that's the worst thing you've said in this bit?
Ellen Cage.
Yeah, that's...
Someone tweet that at her.
No, don't. Let's immediately forget it.
Hashtag dad and son.
That... They had like anatomically correct Ellen Page nude model in their game that almost had them go through a terrifying lawsuit that she decided to drop at the last minute because she was so frustrated of putting up with their bullshit.
Did you realize it was actually a nude model of Ellen Cage and not Ellen Page?
Yeah, it's not her likeness. It's the more embarrassing one who was real frustrated and sad to have to work on that project.
David Cage's smaller sister.
Oh no! You went in such a weird direction. No.
What? David Cage is like 50. He's like 50. His little sister sister would obviously be in her 30s to 40s if he does have a sister.
He's making a nude model of her.
Remember when David Cage mailed Ellen Page a binder full of childhood photos of her to try to convince her that she was perfect for this role of this CIA assassin ghost medium girl who goes to like impoverished countries in Africa and blows up missile silos in North Korea?
Any of us could have played Detroit. George, you should.
I'm gonna watch the Super Best Friends playthrough. That's what I'm gonna do.
I want to. I need to watch. I need to play it. I need to play it.
Why do you need to play it?
Really?
Why do you need to support David Kahe with your money?
I can rent it from Redbox. That seems like a Redbox type of game.
Well, no, that just means that Redbox is going to buy more copies of it if they get good numbers of
my
demanding.
one purchase?
Yeah, but you're going to be contributing. Like, you could say that about your one purchase from GameSpot. It's all part of the same economy. Sorry, I meant GameStop.
Dude, I do that all the time. I'm going to go to GameSpot.
And
the website?
That's where I go to buy video games. Any more witty observations? Any more sardonic jabs?
Hey, man.
Boy.
Let's move on to questions.
All right.
So Nick from Texas wants to wonder out loud if remasters of old CGI movies are going to be a thing. This guy recently rewatched The Incredibles and says, around the scene where Mr. Incredible fights the robot in the lava pit, I realized that the CGI rendering was beginning to age rapidly before my eyes. In about the span of 30 minutes, I was shown repeatedly low-quality textures and renders that, while once considered masterclass work, could easily be rendered on a home console. Is it out of scope to think that movies like this will eventually get a retextured re-release? We see this a ton in video games. Does this seem like a trend that will venture its way into the movie market?
Wait, what? Like, movies aren't rendered on a console. They're rendered via machine made to a video.
What he's saying.
They take like what is it, like months to render those scenes?
That's not what he's saying.
He said could easily be rendered on a home console.
It's not easy. Like it takes a long time to render like seconds of those scenes.
If you like go back and watch Toy Story, I believe one of the marketing points for the original GameCube was that it was capable of rendering games that look like Toy Story. But I think like the original Toy Story from 1995, I believe it was, could be done easily. Like, so okay, actually, isn't there a Toy Story world in Kingdom Hearts 3?
Adding more detail.
Correct. Upping the texture resolution, which I think would not be a quick and easy fix. Like, usually that can oftentimes make games look worse instead of straight better.
Well, no,
yeah, look at this shit from Kingdom Hearts.
Wouldn't it be you would be completely redesigning it?
Look at how good Woody looks.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be you'd be completely redesigning it because they designed it with whatever polygons were in mind, so you'd be adding new shit. Like Woody's jeans in this Kingdom Hearts screenshot are obviously not what was originally designed. So you would have to go back and almost frame for frame redraw every model.
Let's see, Woody from Toy Story 1995. I'm gonna look at a side-by-side of footage from the movie and compare it to Kingdom Hearts 3.
This picture with Donald looking at the army sergeant is fucking amazing.
Oh, Kingdom Hearts. I still can't believe it exists.
Okay,
yeah. Look at these textures from 1995. Woody looks way smoother and less detailed than he does in Kingdom Hearts 3.
Exactly. So you'd have to go back and redraw everything.
His face, his like eye socket balls are way more robotic in the movie. That's weird.
The metallic chair behind him as well. That is meant to look like it has
that wall is almost Gorad shaded.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a baseline. What I was saying before, I'm gonna actually tell you facts. Okay, it takes
facts on the Dad and Sons podcast.
Be super careful with that word.
Yeah. Big Hero 6. The software took 2 years. All right,
to
render. 2 years.
Nice.
200 million computing hours. All right.
Totally.
Like they have like CPU farms that they render the stuff on. It takes a long ass time. That's why it looks so damn good.
Anything that they're doing in real time is like just working with extremely basic GORAD or wireframe models.
So the difference here is we assume now you could render Toy Story very, very quickly, but if you wanted to make a completely retextured, redone version of Toy Story, it would still take 200 hours of computing power.
200 million computing hours.
200 million.
Well, okay. I think, like my point is that just upping the texture resolution of old CGI movies could oftentimes end up making them look way worse. Like, a lot of times, like, you'll see when older remasters of games, or if you want a great example, look at the custom texture packs fan makes for Nintendo 64 games, will often have a
this is
very
what I mean.
visual dissonance.
Yeah, you can't just up-res them because you can't up-res what isn't there. They drew what they could at the time. If you up-resed it, there would still be nothing there. That's what I mean. You'd have to go back in, redesign frame for frame, adding more detail. Because the detail just isn't there. It's not like they put all the detail in, rendered it, and it was lost because of the technology. It didn't exist. So you'd have to go back and add all the textures to Woody's jeans to make his jeans look cool and stuff like that.
I sure hope Pixar has the source code for Toy Story lying around, because it would be impossible otherwise. They'd have to do a shot-by-shot remake, which like might be feasible. I think the thing is that you just have to be extremely careful when trying to update and remake the aesthetics of any creative work, be it Star Wars the special editions, or have you guys watched the original series of Star Trek on Netflix nowadays?
Yeah, I have.
Dude, the ship looks terrible. Yeah. I'd rather have the action figure than the like 1995 CGI Enterprise they green screened onto there.
Yeah, you start to see it after a couple years. You kind of see like where we came from. And it's just like, wow, you don't even notice it back then. It's like when you go from 720p to 1080p, you're like, whoa, and then you go to 4K, George, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah. I mean, maybe 4K plus HDR, but just 4K by itself. Let's not go back down that hole. Instead, let's go down Ewan H's hole. Ewan Hole says, so I have something of a recurring problem when it comes to Western RPGs. I don't know how to play them properly. He basically has this problem where he plays them like completionists, but he notices that the games are engineered for particular roles, as thus hinting at the title of the genre, the role-playing game. He says, like, if you play an aloof, uncaring character, you have to ignore certain quests, or if you play a gullible, naive character, you have to let yourself get cheated, or if you want to play 100% Ice Mage, you miss out on good fire spells, etc. He confuses, or, like, is confused about whether or not this could be considered playing an RPG badly, because a lot of modern, quote-unquote, Western RPGs are engineered to have the player be good at all of the skills available.
Yeah.
They've gradually, like, gone back and forth through the Bethesda RPGs, like, Morrowind had you forcing your character into pretty specialized systems. Oblivion was a little more broad. Skyrim was broad as shit. Fallout 4, on the other hand, they, like, dial their way back down to narrowing your character's skill sets as you progress, but you're still going to be able to at least see everything on your first character, but maybe not do everything in every way unless you get really, really liberal with the quick save system. And I don't know which system I prefer, because the games can be engineered both ways for very specific goals in mind. Like, I think Skyrim's problems mostly stem from bad writing and uninteresting side quests, more so than an overly broad, overly vague RPG leveling system. I like the specializations that the Fallouts will oftentimes have your character get narrowed down to. I believe that this is a mechanic to create replay value. I have a friend who will, like, replay Baldur's Gate 2 4 or 5 times a year, every year since, like, 2006, and they still claim to be seeing new stuff. That's really cool. I appreciate that. But I don't want to say it's like a hard and fast rule of whether or not you're playing the game badly. I think the important thing to try to narrow down on is, number one, for your first time through, when you're learning the game, try to play it the way you think it's intended to play. But then after you get used to it and figure out what you want out of it, just play it the way you find is fun.
I think you were right when you say they're very broad. Like, when I personally play these games, there's not enough in-depth difference between playing a certain way that makes it interesting enough to go down these paths. I just end up choosing the option that at the time of making that decision seems interesting. It's the same as playing God of War right now, putting your skills in different areas. It doesn't seem that vastly important. You just have a sort of all-round character. Unless it's like something like more D&D-esque related games that are, like the old Fallout games that have, what is the system called? I forget what the system's called.
GURPS. It was like
GURPS,
a generic universal
GURPS.
role-playing system. Yeah. They modified it into special, I believe, is the story.
Yeah, they
for
became
that.
special. Yeah, so games like that the gameplay really does completely change depending on the way you play. It's kind of just pointless.
Changing your character's gender in those old RPGs was always really fun. Because people really will talk to you differently. Like on a line-by-line basis sometimes. Because that was before they had voice acting where they had to, hire a voice actor to re-record their lines for different genders.
Well, that's the thing is, those games, it mattered. In other more broad Western RPGs, I think even The Witcher 3 and stuff like that, it's kind of just you're already playing a character. The character exists. The character is that a certain way. Skyrim is
The
kind
Witcher
of just...
3 is one of those broad systems I'd consider too. Like you are playing a Witcher, but you have no other options than playing a Witcher. And your Witcher is gradually going to become good at all the three things, but a little bit better at one of the three things.
You already know what kind of character Geralt is anyway.
Yeah.
He is a certain way, and when an option comes up and you do something that wouldn't seem very Geralt-like, kind of breaks your immersion a little bit. What? Geralt wouldn't do that way. That wasn't the reaction I was expecting or something. So I think it depends. There is no right or wrong way to play any RPG.
Well, we all know that Dex runs and Dark Souls are the official way to play. Maxing up your poison resistance in swimming in Deus Ex is the way the developers want you to play too.
It's all fun.
So, have you ever walked out of a movie theater?
Thomas M wants to know if you ever walked out of a movie theater. If so, what was the movie?
I haven't.
I actually haven't either.
I love movies, so I watch to the end, even if it's garbage.
Way back in childhood, me and my dad would actually be real scumbag pieces of shits and just, pieces of multiple shits, and would actually walk from theater to theater in the olden days and just to find one we liked. Yeah, I remember I was 11 and we went into Scary Movie 2 and my dad was like, you don't get any of these jokes. I don't know if I feel comfortable with you getting these jokes. And I was just I don't get any of these jokes. Then we walked into some Jet Li action movie and had a good fun time.
Yeah, I don't get any of these jokes.
Well, they were very adult jokes, as I would later find out were actually very immature jokes. Isn't that weird how when you're a kid, things that are mature and for adults gradually become more immature as you grow up?
I don't know.
Grand Theft Auto just looks so childish nowadays to me.
And then I watch episodes of SpongeBob, and there are some adult jokes hidden way into that are just so fucking good. Yeah. This just flies over kids' heads.
Yeah,
and those are the best because you can
totally different light.
You can tell they're not trying. I think Oh, God. I've never walked out of a movie I hated, but one time in high school, I brought a bunch of friends, the, weeb crowd. We weren't in the anime club, but we were in the Writers Guild club. And we went on a movie night to the local theater, us, 16, 17-year-old teenagers, and I wanted to show them Good Night and Good Luck. Because I wanted to be a journalist when I was growing up, and I enjoyed watching Edward R. Murrow just blindly state at the camera that a senator was crazy when rolling unedited footage of this crazy senator drunkenly stumbling their way into revoking people's civil liberties, and they didn't get it. They actually walked out because they got bored of this incredibly powerful, beautiful, very mature adult movie and wanted to go watch A Geisha's Tale, I believe was the name of it instead.
If ever you wanted to know George's superhero backstory, that was that.
What is the name of that movie?
That was George's superhero backstory.
Memoirs of a Geisha. They walked out of Good Night and Good Luck because they the fucking weebs wanted to watch Memoirs of a Geisha instead.
That was George's superhero backstory.
What? No, I don't.
He is the man today because of that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to prove him wrong.
People do care
What
about
do you think of
things.
that, Corey Hames? Anyways. Thomas M. also wants to know, what is your favorite game that no one else likes, or a game that you like, which the majority of people you know don't like?
Super Mario Odyssey.
I like Super Mario Odyssey. I think it's super cute. I love it.
Kingdom Hearts is probably mine.
Kingdom Hearts is a
Wow,
multiple selling franchise with high reviews.
No, it's just the fact that we've had 2 mentions of Kingdom Hearts on this show makes me laugh.
I'm gonna try to think up of something real. Oh, I know the one. Ooh, I know the one. And I will push buttons by saying this right the hell now, in fact. This is a game that has not even, like, aged out of its hate. Are you guys ready? Are you guys fucking ready for me to drop this bomb?
No
this
Man,
hot take?
No Sky.
No, fuck that game. It's a boring piece of shit.
No Man, No Sky.
No Man, No Sky.
No man, no sky.
Unless you guys have a similar bomb to drop, I'm ready to drop the bomb here.
I think I have a bomb. I think I have
Okay. Let's hear Liam's bomb first, then.
Oh, you think your bomb is better than my bomb?
Assassin's Creed Origins.
No, Unity, the one where people's faces fall out of their skulls.
The faces melt off.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep yelling out random crap if you guys just go.
BioShock Infinite.
Because I still consider that, like, yeah.
People shit all over that game. That game was
was a game
that is
people liked for, like, the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, that is the atypical high of the high masterpiece. Yep. Everyone thinks it's the bomb. 3 years later, everyone fucking despises it.
Yeah, there's...
Racist,
we went into this last week, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because like, the black people fighting oppression are just as bad as the white people oppressing them, because...
BioShock Infinite is a good game. It's just wrecked by the last level, but it's the last fucking level. Up until that point, it's a fun, interesting game. It has a beautiful world, and is kind of fun to play. The skyhook things were alright. And I guess my guilty pleasure is I play FIFA because I like football. There you go.
You mean soccer?
No. I certainly do not.
Oh. What's soccer then?
It's like American football, but they play it with a ball you hit with your foot instead of your hands.
That sounds like soccer. FIFA sounds like soccer.
No, FIFA is soccer. I just refuse to say soccer.
God damn it, man. America is so fucked because we call football when it should be called like handball or arm ball.
You kick
football,
it like once
as
every
a name
like
for the sport
few minutes. Whereas actual football has it
foot to balls contact all the time. 24/7.
24/7 ball contact.
George, what is the bomb?
Gone Home.
I don't think that's as bad as you think.
I don't know, man. Like some of the circles who hang out with me. Yeah.
Interesting.
And I wait, you didn't know that? I put a very positive review on it. I'm infamous for liking Gone Home. And I think it's a like basically minigame condensed version of a lot of the same appeal I get out of Deus Ex and the shocks, the system shocks. It's very much an 0451 game without the combat and a more domestic story, and I thought for what it was a neat, fun little tale of breaking video game norms and expectations, but doing it in a safe, conventional way.
With real that it's so weird to hear that you were actually human before.
There was once a time where I had like dreams and aspirations before going on
before
my
this
vendetta against
trip to
my
the cinema.
Former high school friends.
Matt, what about you?
I said
quiet.
Kingdom Hearts.
Oh yeah.
Does that apply?
I thought that wasn't a real answer.
No, I really do like Kingdom Hearts. I really do like it. Even though like I can agree that it's kind of trash, I just really like.
But it has like the most rabid fan base, so I don't think it counts as that.
It doesn't count, does it? Yeah.
I think it's more as like everyone takes the piss out of.
Everyone.
Pretty much.
it can't be too human. I don't like the game that much. I enjoyed it, but I don't like the game that much.
Yeah, there's a difference between like.
Can we count Heavy Rain? Because that game's trash.
Heavy Rain is like the most enjoyable David Kaye game, though. It's the one that makes the most sense. It's the one that has the most entertaining accents. So funny to me. I don't know. I mean, whenever it comes to David Cage, I'm going to be stealing a lot of jokes from the Super Best Friends, and I cannot wait to see their playthrough of Detroit. That's Detroit, because that game's going to get a D minus from the teachers.
What's the subtitle again?
Become Human.
Become Human.
Which is what David Cage aims to do with his unauthorized nude model of Ellen Page.
You must have watched a lot of Westworld.
Yeah.
He's gonna plug her into a silicone body mold and strap on the VR headset and step into the stirrups.
Oh,
no. and then it's gonna like rev up some engines with the ripcord he has to tear. The power outlet blows from all of the stuff plugged in the wall.
So if you'd like to send an email that you'd like us to read on the Dan Sons, even if you are David Kahahe, and you'd like to report if you'd like to sue us, you can send emails to dadandsonspodcast@gmail.com.
Ellen Cage.
Obviously, there is no bar for standards whatsoever, so fire away. All cannons, bow, how, eastward, whatever.
And remember, you're a 10 out of 10.
He's just like
in Italian.
He's just like sweating all over the silicone body mold of Ellen Page.
I love you, Ellen Cage.